And of course, Leuven played that on the Hub Valence in that top lane, and it popped off towards the end of the game. In the early game, it was, a bit steady, and then it just really got big in those team fights. We're going to see the Mordekaiser ban as well.
No. So I was chatting with some casters.
Right.
And they were telling me that Mordekaiser wasn't all that good. Even post-rework, they'd seen it in,
Whoa,
I think, the
back up, TJ,
ESL...
back up. You know other casters apart from me?
Sorry, I have been, 28 timing you. But Mordekaiser, they were saying they'd seen it in some of the ESL Germany tournaments, and he had lost every game.
So the weird thing with Mordekaiser is, yes, he can be stupidly strong, but I think if your team's sensible, and the thing with the Mordekaiser ult is if you get trapped in there with Mordekaiser, it's a one-on-one. So if you're stronger than the Mordekaiser, you can beat him. If that Mordekaiser is a little bit ahead, then he can beat you. But if you have a QSS, you can just QSS straight out of it. So even if you have a team fight and you take that ADC out of the fight using your ultimate, just so that your team has a 4v4 where the enemy team doesn't have the ADC can just QSS and he's straight back in the fight. So you can kind of nullify the effects of Mordekaiser, especially even with something like a Sylas, where you can have Mordekaiser ultception, where Sylas ults the Mordekaiser after Mordekaiser's ulted him. But we've already got...
I didn't need that today. Yuumi, Hecarim, Ryze are the first three to come through over on the Swordfish, Banja, Luka side. It'll be Sivir, Sejuani so far against them from Hub Leuven. I'll be interested to see how that Sejuani plays into Hecarim. We've seen that matchup a few times here at City League, and I think Sejuani has the edge.
Yeah,
Ooh.
And I guess we're not surprised that the Thresh is picked up, are we?
I'm ecstatic. I love a good Thresh.
And the Lumi Neon is a very good Thresh. But going back to these picks, of course, Yuumi, quite a high priority pick, works very well. And Sivir and Sejuani, very, very strong right now. Sivir's probably the strongest champion in the game alongside possibly Karma. If you look at win rates of champions on, I think it's u.gg, Sivir is second highest after Karma. So very, very strong pick, and I'm surprised it hasn't been banned away just yet. The LeBlanc being banned, that was actually played by Zhao Pandy last week, so giving a fair bit of respect to that pick. Ryze as well, a bit of an interesting pick after the changes, a slight nerf coming through.
Unless this is ADC Ryze, which I have heard tell of, I'm going to be interested to see what comes through in the spotlight, because what they could be doing is something I've seen with the Yuumis a few times, which is going for something a little bit off meta, a little bit beefier in that bot lane. And if you're doing that, I'm really happy. I think the greatest problem that a Yuumi has is when you have her as your support, you no longer have a tank. And this team doesn't have one yet. When the LPL teams have been playing Yuumi, and I know LPL meta is considered a little bit wild, but when the LPL teams have been playing Yuumi, they've been also running a Nautilus, also running a Galio in another lane, so that they have a little bit of beefy HP towards the late game that can take the front line of those team fights. And I think Yuumi kind of suffers without it if you get to the hyper lane.
Yeah, I 100% agree. If you're playing Yuumi, you need that front line, but Pyke Yuumi is a thing in the bot lane, and I do want to mention this. It's
I literally
so
hadn't
big.
heard of that until now, and I want to unhear it. That sounds terrifying.
It got played in the LEC by none other than G2, the creators of the unexpected, and it won the game in G2. I casted 2 games on it in a semi-finals of the tournament. It won 2 of the games it was picked in that best of 5. Lucian will be picked up though, so no Pyke just yet. But
give me a tank.
You need to have a tank. You need to have that engage. Monster can kind of engage with a Hecarim, but we need that tank in the top lane. You need something that can engage, whether it's Camille. There you go. Camille is something that can do that very well.
I still want a little bit more HP on that side. It is serviceable, but if it gets to late game team fights, I think Swordfish have the worst draft. Hub Leuven still have a chance to throw that all off by choosing something mad here. But failing that, this is a really standard, solid draft.
Yeah, and Hub Leuven taking a very nice pick. The Ornn coming through is not something that I've seen a lot of, but it has been picked a fair bit in the City League. So I guess not overly surprising. We did see Mr. Robin playing that Ornn in last week's game. We saw the Sivir and Thresh coming through in that bot lane, and Rivet and Lumineon were the carries. 13-0-13 Rivet went on that Sivir last time. So we really do have to watch out for this. The other thing to mention is, while you have Banja Luka playing, somewhat of a more interesting strategy with, having the Camille, you mentioned not that much HP. The Lucian falls off early, but Rise scales so well. That being said, though, you've got the Ornn passive where everyone on his team, when they get to late game, gets a bonus item, if not 2 or 3 bonus items, depending on what itemization they go for. For sure, right. You can get that bonus Infinity Edge, which will be really big on Rivet Sivir.
I'm looking at these two setups, though, and the Hub Leuven have their entire set bathed in blue. Their entire gaming center looks like the set of a John Wick movie. And I have to say, I'm kind of into that. I think it empowers them to take an extra step further beyond. In this game, they need it to give them a little bit extra sustain, the chance to get to late game.
Yeah, and as we see the Banja Luka setup, I know you like how they always have a nice crowd behind them, and they've got one here today. And that's probably the Banja Luka second team that we will be seeing right after this game, as we will be making our way soon. But again, going back to what you were saying about this entire engage going into these team fights, it is going to be really important. And Lumineon being able to land those death sentences. But then, of course, you do have Ice Hunter on the Sejuani with the Glacial Prison, Call of the Forge God as well. Combine that with the Jiao Pandi's Pop Blossom, it's a lot of damage. Whereas for the side of Swordfish Banja Luka is a bit more iffy. You're going to be having the split pushing coming through from the Rise and the Camille. Rise hasn't taken that TP, which is weird. Very weird in my opinion.
So I think the Swordfish Banja Luka draft only works if they get kills early.
Yeah.
And I think they're actually really well positioned to get kills early. That Lucian will be super effective. With Yuumi, they'll be able to slow people down and burn them down. Have a good lane gank from the Hecarim. They'll blow people up.
Yeah.
But if they don't get those picks, then Thresh Sivir outscales them in bot. Nico Sejuani Sivir is just terrifying in team fights. And that Ornn will quietly be able to hold his own against the Camille or the Rise in top lane.
Yeah, for the side of Valence, you do... Sorry, not from Valence, from Leuven, you do have a good front line from Mr. Robin and Ice Hunter on the Ornn and Sejuani, respectively. But going back to this bot lane, LQP and Paug are going to be so important, especially... anytime between 0 minutes and we're talking about 18 minutes, they are strong. Like, that's where they need to be getting their kills. If they go after 18, 19 minutes without getting those early kills... if they've got that Black Cleaver, if they've got that Blade of the Ruined King through and they are not ahead and they're even, they have lost. They have lost lane completely. But that being said, Monster not the most heavily ganked champion, especially pre-6. Of course, he does have a lot of impact in lanes. All right. Take anything away from that.
I'm going to take some away from you. Give me your hard prediction. We're out of the draft. Tell me who wins.
Leuven. Leuven had a really good draft on day 1. They outdrafted Banja Luka 2 completely. I have faith in their draftability. As you mentioned, it looked a bit iffy from Banja Luka in game 2. And I'm not sure if you know this, TJ, but I have a caster curse on me.
Really?
Yeah. Whenever a Lucian is picked up, and I must have casted over about 10 Lucian games, Lucian always loses. Every time.
Okay.
Especially into Kai'Sa.
I don't want to take this away from you, but have you considered that Lucian might just be bad? Because that's what I think at a competitive
This is when
level.
Lucian was
Maybe that's
meta.
just my held personal opinion, but I don't think I've ever seen a Lucian work at a competitive level either, and I don't think that's a curse. I don't think that's my fault.
To be honest, I think... when I was casting on the games, Lucian was definitely a meta. He was a strong pick that people would take. I mean, you'd see a Lucian, Braum would be banned because Lucian Braum is just really, really scary. Right now, I don't think Lucian is in a very strong place, not compared to, you know, an S+ tier champion like that Sivir that River is playing. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is the interaction of the mechanism in this bot lane. Yuumi into Sivir, it's not that good. Because when you throw that prowling projectile, it is very, very telegraphed. Sivirs love telegraphed abilities because it means that they can get an easy spell shield out and disengage. That's the only slower anything from this bot lane of Banja Luka is that prowling projectile. So Rivet just has to drop down the spell shield, get some mana back up, can shove the lane in again. So I think Banja Luka are going to have a much more difficult time than they would have had if they picked something like a Nautilus, something like a Braum in that bot lane. But once again, going to come all down to Banja Luka.
I was calling for them to have a second tank, but also not playing Yuumi would have done it. We're into game number 1. The City League week number 2, season number 2. It is Swordfish, Banja Luka over on the blue left-hand side, while the Hump Leuven take the right and the red color.
Yeah, so get some hype in that Twitch chat, guys, because we are into game 1. And Mr. Robin, taking that grass.
I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull back the curtain.
Ooh, what's behind the curtain?
I'm really So I'm in California, and I'm really tired. That's what's behind the curtain.
It's a lot of sunshine.
You know what? That's not the problem. I just didn't get any sleep because I was up doing another cast last night, but then I was standing here and I was kind of tired. And I was like, how do I get through a broadcast on 4 hours of sleep? And then I realized this is actually going to be a sick game because there is a ticking time bomb in the Swordfish Banja Luka draft, which means one way or another, this game will be over in the first 30 minutes, I think, and they need to play very, very quickly.
Yeah, but that being said, LQP, this bot lane of Banja Luka, they can't get flustered. So many times you can see a Lucian that they drop the first kill, whatever, it's not over for them. They have a while to still outscale. They don't fall off like a drop. It's not, you know, a snap of the finger and they're out of it. They have a bit of time, you know, it'll be a slow fall off. So they just can't get flustered. They just have to take their advantages, wait for LQP to pick those power spikes, you know, when he gets that Bilge Water Cutlass and then upgrades that into the Blade of the Rune King. Then he can start to abuse it, because one of the things that's important about this Lucian is he gets his power spike mid-items, whereas for something like Sivir, she gets her power spikes when she completes an item. So there are a lot of steps in Lucian's power spikes.
So you would say, instead of a ticking time bomb, it's like global warming, you know?
Yeah.
The big problem that's taking a while.
There we go.
We won't notice it until it's gone really wrong.
Yeah, precisely. I guess.
All right.
I guess that's a decent analogy.
I try and tie things into analogies that are relevant
issues,
to the viewer. Yeah.
You know, make sure you recycle your plastics, folks.
Anyone want to talk about Brexit? Easy skip.
Okay, now we're going into politics now.
I want to see this Ord lane actually turn around, because so far Easy Skins has been dominating up there. Things aren't going too well down bot either. LQP absolutely trashing Lumi Neon with poke.
You say that though, but look at this CS Rivet able to out CS LQP at the moment. And that's all that matters for this bot lane, as long as they are able to keep a little bit of health, and Rivet getting poked down, not using that spell shield to the best of her abilities just yet, but I'm sure she'll get used to it with time. But still, good stuff coming through from Rivet and Lumi Neon in the bot lane.
And Mr. Robin has managed to start holding his own as well, stalling things out for a bit, and now beginning to push forward for some wave clear. He's got good CS.
Here comes Ice Hunter.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it could get even worse. There's the flash. Burned. Easy Life gets free, but he has to use that summoner so early on.
And good flash from Easy Life. You know, not risking it. You don't need to risk it this early. Just throw the flash straight away. Better safe than sorry. And Monster turning up in this bot lane. He saw that Hunter was in the top lane, so he's going to just take a bit of his bot side CS. Could possibly look for an engage. as Lumi, Neon, and Rivet getting poked down a little low.
As far as CS goes, we're actually dead even across the map. No lane getting dominated either side. Oh my god, interrupt his recall. You do that, Puck.
Yeah, the W from Lucian, the Ardent Blades coming in, just getting a bit of poke, which you can do. I don't think Rivet wanted to back anyway, something that people do. You know, they just feint the back sometimes to bait out spells and abilities. But
it's real satisfying though.
Yeah,
when
it
you
is.
see that recall animation start, and you're like, no, you stay here.
Yeah, but again, they just need to wait for these waves, and LQP just needs to freeze it as much as he can, as Ice Hunter might be looking for the engage once they freeze this wave.
Lantern over the wall. Ice Hunter is here to join the team. LQP just back off though. The relentless pursuit takes him to safety, especially with Porg already riding along. That's going to be a double back now with this way.
Yeah, and the death sentence. Oh,
that's quite a good one. Flay as well. He's underneath the turret. Half ignited. LQP's got to run. He's burnt the flash in the mid lane. Dobras chained down as well. Jal Panda wants the pick. Flash forward, Flay for Luka Neon. Rivet for the damage. I don't think he can finish it. LQP gets free, and now Rivet's so low. They need Ice Hunter to slow down Monster, and they can't do it. It's a charge forth, and he's gone. Lantern's needed just to get Ice Hunter out, and it is disastrous for her bottom lane.
What have I just witnessed, TJ? So many spells being used to chase down onto LQP. But the passive from Ardent Blades and Relentless Pursuit able just to get him away. And I'm not sure if River had the mana for a Boomerang Blade, because that would have secured the kill. But regardless, one kill going over onto Banja Luka.
And for all the shade... Oh, mid lane. Monster chain down. For all the shade I gave Yume, there is not another support that keeps your Lucian alive like that.
Have you seen Janna?
Okay. There is not another commonly played support.
Janna, Soraka, and potentially Lulu. But it's very close. Like, Yume has a lot of healing. This is why I don't like Yume.
Not very many people do. I'm gonna be real. I have not seen a lot of people be like, you know who I really like? Yume.
But the good thing with Yume...
The Cats and Dogs event that Riot did was
no.
actually a poll. So it was a 50-50, which do you like more, cats or dogs? Then they released Yume. I don't remember, but now then they released Yume, and they're gonna run it again and figure out if they significantly shifted public opinion.
Dogs are gonna get a much bigger vote now. Yeah, for sure. Oh
my God! Don't do that. Second time's the charm. LQP tagged down, but again, he's forward. It was actually Paul got him the death sentence. Rivet not able to find enough damage during these early game engagements, but you can already kind of see the benefit of Lumi Neon on that Thresh.
Yeah, and LQP already hit his first power spike. Remember, I said it steps in that power spike. The Vampiric Scepter has been picked up, while only a Caulfield Warhammer on Rivet, so that little bit extra sustain on LQP. And the thing that Lumi Neon has to remember is he cannot go for Porg on that Yume, because Yume will just take the CC, take the damage, and then just jump straight onto LQP, who will be burning through this bot lane.
Porg, LQP. Getting to push forward, LQP looking for the damage, like you say. You can see this wave clear starting to show up as Rivet's knocked very low.
Yeah, and he's just going to have to play sensibly. Again, the bot lane from Leuven are able to play this aggressively just because...
Death sentence, Flay, Porg in trouble, he's gone! Lumi Neon says, fine, I'll do it myself. He needs a full culling though, that could be scary. Rivet's got a body block a few shots, but he's got it. Culling won't find the kill, and Ice Hunter is up in the top lane, looking to clear out vision, so that maybe they can find something up there as well.
Yeah, and this is what, you know, this is a slight change that came to Numi when they were changing everything around. The big thing was, as there's a short trade in the top lane, don't think anything will come of it. Oh!
Dead sentence over a wall. Lantern as well. LQP, big trouble as the box goes down. Leuven, Neon, you have got to be kidding me.
And LQP just getting too aggressive in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's doubly dangerous. Pop blossom through. Dobros has to flash out, and he does so. Ice Hunter's there for the interrupt. Now Monster's here with the final chapter and a relentless charge. That should be another kill. Hunter's gone. It's an even trade for 2 across the map.
A really good cleanse by Dobras there, and then Monster turns up with Pog to be able to get the trade, the final chapter, able to get that root, and Monster does the rest as the overload from Dobras picks up the kill. But 2 kills versus 2, and gold is so even. But first rank is only going to be this Cloud, so not highly contested.
I'm actually really quite worried at this point. Because all of my predictions are hovering. I was so
Lumi.
actually kind of... What are you... Lumi? You're slowing. Monster should be able to win this fight, but he didn't count on the fact that Dobras was in the area as well. Hunter just has to get out. TP burned as well for this Drake. Maybe that's a positive for things considered.
Yeah, it's really good as... And they follow.
Oh, death sentence again. Easy Skins in trouble.
Here we
But
go.
there's the roots as well to chain down Hunter. The full engage. Cloud Drake, 500 HP. The charge forward. It will be secured. Swordfish get the Drake, but they lose their players. LQP can't even find the Drake. He's got to flash out. The Pop Blossom won't find anything, but they do get a kill.
And that is really, really big from Leuven. Lumi Neon just delaying, bringing Monster down low enough at the start, and then with the trade, they find that 4v5 play. They burn the TP from Easy Life. They get the flash from LQP. And a fair bit used from Leuven, but overall positive just because of that TP that they got.
I'm happy to see them striking back, but is my sense of time kind of skewed? Is the fact that this is going relatively even a bad sign for Swordfish?
To be fair, in the bot lane, it's going well enough. You know, 15 CS advantage on LQP. There's still a lot of time. He's just built that Blade of the Rune King, so that's a pretty big power spike for the Lucian. Also have to wait for the Ardent and even the Dark Steel to come out on Porg. It is, you know, an item that you can get just because you don't expect to die as Yumi, because you're always on, you know, one of your allies, never frontlining or anything like that. So there's still a lot of time, and all it requires is one team fight in the mid lane where they are able to get an ace, they pick up Rift Herald or something like that, and the game will turn on its head.
One good team fight, and Swordfish can close the game.
Not close the game, but they can take it into a bit where they'll have enough of an advantage to keep on pushing. But Hunter in this bot lane.
Well, LQP lantern through, box blocked, and LQP's gone. There will be a charge in. Lumi Neon intercepts it and will go down. Monster has to keep going,
Andy
and
on the
he'll
way.
get real close into the middle of the fight, and he burns down as the rotates come through. It was too far. Only 2 players survive. Swordfish do not get a good team fight in the bot lane, and they do not have control of this game.
And even with Dobras getting to that bot lane before Japan, he didn't have the Realm Warp available, couldn't get there quicker, otherwise it could have been very, very different. Both junglers were there, and Hunter is that little bit ahead of Monster right now, or it was even when that fight started, and they're just able to find the play onto LTP as Porg. Just not much he can do.
Yeah, that's gotta be real scary if you're over on the Swordfish side, because LQP just got melted. That's the actually 3rd time they've done that exact play. Lumi Neon leading into the front of a fight, dropping the box, and then throwing a lantern back to bring in Ice Hunter.
Oh, that lantern was really good to Ice Hunter, and I think the culling was down, so... And this is what we were mentioning in that fight around Drake Banja Luka. It burned a lot of stuff, including that culling, and it wasn't available for that fight.
Lumi Neon is also just like not missing death sentences. He landed another one just while we were chatting about his last one. He's been on point.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, he had vision of them, so that one wasn't too hard. They could never really punish LQP and Pog, and I think Banja Luka knew that. It's these hooks that he's landing, getting them under turret, getting them, sniping them through 2 minions, etc. That's what's really making this just so big. And the Essence Reaver being picked up for Rivet, so 1 item for each of these bot laners. So Rivet doing a good job, and that's mainly due to Luminion just trying to keep them.
Pot Blossom, try to stay safe. Jiao Panda has a double stun,
second
but
turret
he's
shot.
burned down. The kill will be picked up, and there aren't enough turret shots to end Dobras.
As Ice Hunter making his way over, has that Glacial Prison available, won't be able to find anything there, and Jiao Panda just getting a little bit caught out.
Through again, Pog's just gone! He's just deleted!
And there we go, only a 9 CS discrepancy, and if we take a look at the actual gold, in fact it's 600 gold advantage in favor of Rivet. It's not completely over just yet, wait until the Black Cleaver has been bought, but things are looking really, really good for Leuven right now.
What do you do when people just get deleted like that?
You have to play safe, we're going to see a trade.
What is safe? When people are pushing this far forward like this, there will be a culling burns, but nothing comes from it. Just a little bit of poke down in the bot lane.
Now we'll get that poke through. Monster made his way over, but not able to find anything. But in regards to playing safe, it's Pork has been caught out a few times by the death sentence, and LQP just not close enough, and Pork gets killed too quickly before he can dash back onto LQP. So he just needs to be a bit safer, just needs to sit on LQP a bit more, because the key thing is in these fights is a 2v1, and LQP just not favoring his chances of going into these fights.
You can see a little bit, I think, of the action happening across the map in the top lane. This has been pretty steadily won by Easy Life, Easy Skins for Swordfish, Banja, Luka. That's not really enough. Here's Hunter down bot, Pog again. Threatened to be caught out. Jiao Panda in the area as well, but not quite enough for the full engage they were looking for.
No, not quite enough. And you mentioned that top lane, very even at the minute. In fact, 10 CS advantage on Mr. Robin, which is pretty good considering he's playing that on, but Death Sentence coming in.
Will be landed. There's the charge through as well. Final chapter will be burned, and the first kill is picked up. A step too far for Ice Hunter. A step too far for Luminion as well. Now it's just the Pop Loss to try and turn things into backline. So there's no Bell Warp. It's beautiful. Nothing to be found as Swordfish strike back and find their first team fight of the game.
Remember what we said, 1 team fight could be enough just to get that bit advantage and get them snowballing. LQP doesn't really pick too much, but it's 4 kills as it is a 5v4 in around that Drake. However, first turret will be going to Mr. Robin, and it's yet another Cloud Drake. Sorry, it's an Ocean Drake. Sorry, my bad. Ocean Drake going to be going over on to Banja Luka too, but these aren't high pro Drakes, and that first turret is still a big pickup.
That Swordfish team fight could not have gotten better. They're using Monster to kind of assuage our frontline fears. We were really worried about them not having a tank, and Monster has been able to function in that role on the Hecarim.
Yeah, and Luminion just going to clear out a bit of vision, but again, would be surprised if we don't see those bot laners swapping lanes over just yet. Of course, that's what you usually do, try to get more advantage onto LQP on that Lucian as soon as possible, try to get that turret plate, well, no more turret plates 19 minutes in, but try to get that turret down, as maybe the game will settle down for a little bit. Only 8 kills to 6, but a nice 2k
well, I feel
gold advantage.
if it does settle down, we do have to say that Swordfish aren't out of woods yet. They need to get more from this fight in order to be safe with this game. That's why they're going for this Rift Herald. They will get it uncontested.
However, the biggest thing right now, as the Rift Herald is secured by Monster, this is not down to LQP on the Lucian. This is all Dobras right now. So we can see it.
Box through, Monster into the midst of the team. Pop Blossom will follow though, and it's big. The final chapter is going through, but it's not finding. Nearly enough jump handling, but it's down too far forward though, and he's immediately burned down as LQP arrives. The rest of the hub team just have to back off, and they are not going to be allowed to do so. Leuven Neon into the midst of the fight. He's locked there, and he will fall.
Rift Herald is available. It can be dropped in this mid lane, or in fact, Monster might go top and spawn it there. Dobras heading over as well, but this is what I was mentioning. These fights, Banja, Luka, right now, they are not reliant on LQP. This is Dobras right now. He's hit that Seraph's Embrace. It is upgraded to the Seraph's Embrace. He's got 9 stacks on his Dark Seal. He's building towards the Moral and Nomicon. He's going to be absolutely huge because he's already getting these power spikes so early on in the game.
This Rift Herald will get a second charge. That's rough. Half HP knocked off the second turret. Does that satisfy what we were saying? Or are they out of the woods, solidly in control of this game?
No, it's not over just yet. You know, there's a common saying in League that it's not over until you crack that base. And even with the base cracked, even if that happened, River has so much wave clear on that Sivir that it's still going to be super, super hard to push this in and force the game to end. It's one thing getting these objectives pushing through, but you still need to close out the game. And with those inhib turrets still up and all the inner turrets up as well, Swordfish, Banja, Luka still have a bit of a way to go.
I thought that was a StarCraft saying.
Is that StarCraft saying as well?
Yeah.
I've never played StarCraft.
Really?
No, never.
How'd you manage that? I'm really young and I'm still playing StarCraft.
I didn't really get into gaming until uni, and League was the first thing that I got into, I guess. So, there you go.
Somebody save this man. Anyway, we do have a video game that's going quite well for Swordfish, Banja, Luka. They have complete map control at this point. They're going to try and carry that into more objectives, at the very least enough vision around that Baron to make Hub Leuven a little bit anxious.
Yeah, and I want to go back to LQP versus River. Gold very, very even, and LQP actually going for that Essence Reaver over the Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver would have made sense just because you cleave the armor when you get any damage through, which makes your culling so much more dangerous as Lumi Neon getting caught out.
Oh, very dangerous. Lumi Neon's got to get at the start of the fight. Monster has overcommitted, but it doesn't matter. Pablos will come through, tagging 3. That could be massive. Actually, a turn off the back of it as now their ADCs arrive. Glacial Prison there as well. LQP is gone, and Hub have turned this fight. It's all a fleeing game now for Dobras. He's just trying to back up, maybe get some wave clear while he's at it. And he might have actually managed to find some extra poke as well.
Right, something I want to show you, TJ, right now is look at the vision in that topside jungle. It's red. When Banja Luka went for that, they didn't have vision. They found a pick and they decided to follow up on it, even though they had no idea where the rest of Leuven were. And that's just a bad call from Banja Luka, and all of a sudden it's starting to look like Leuven may be back into this game.
We keep talking up Lumi Neon. I have to ask, he's died instantly the last 3 team fights. What's going wrong for him?
To be fair, it doesn't really matter if he's dying as long as he gets a lot out of the enemy team. If he dies but he burns 3 ultimates, a heal and a flash, that's worth it as a support. You don't have much gold. The more you die...
Is he doing that?
Yes, I do think he is. I mean, because we saw the final chapter coming through, trying to lock him down, wasn't able to really find anything. And he has to step forward. He has to try to find these picks. But it looks like we're going to be finding something else.
Yeah, culling through. Just a little bit of poke for now, just for the sake of scaring back the whole full engage. Monster again on the front line. Box will be locked. ED Skins has an opener. That's the Simmer gone. And that should spell disastrous. Poplos and force completely split for the rest of the fight. Swordfish went down bottom near the Drake. And clean up top. And Swordfish are back in control. This Elder Drake could be theirs, but the team directs their efforts towards the mid lane. Realm War all the way up. That's right, it's Baron time.
Yeah, all members of Leuven are down, and this is what Banja Luka expected to happen in that previous fight. They just didn't get the timing right of it. But this time, why Leuven going in for this fight? They don't need to. They can stall it out. They're behind. Dobras is so big. The Seraph's Embrace, the Morale-Nomicon. He just deals so much damage with the spread from that Overload and Spell Flux combo. And 16 kills to 8. All 5 members of Swordfish Banja Luka have that Baron.
All their members have the Baron buff. And a significant cold day. That's the GDP of a small European country in difference between the two of them. It's a little bit rough.
Okay. But Dobras...
Look, some small European countries have negative GDPs. I'm just saying it's entirely possible.
Okay, you and your
Economic
politics.
crisis
You
hits
and
some
your
places hard.
politics, alright,
It's not
DJ?
politics, that's economics.
There's a fine border. Okay, but look at Dobras now. He's got the Void Staff. That's just going to burn through any MR, and Mr. Robin with that adaptive helm, he's going to get burnt through now as well, and expect the Rabadon's Death Cap to be coming through next. As Dobras and Easy Life, I'm surprised they're not going for a 1-3-1 right now, but look at Paug sitting on Dobras. That's because Dobras is the win condition right now on Leuven.
Yeah, you can see, I think, the win condition for Pub Leuven in these team fights. Rivet needs to be capable of stepping up somehow. Because the one team fight they won was entirely off of Rivet arriving and just dominating.
I agree with you, TJ, but there's one mistake you've made. You said fight. We do not want to sit. Leuven do not want to fight right now. No,
it's gonna
if there's
happen.
a fight,
Oh my god! It definitely is happening. TP will come through. They found some good CC. Pop lost mid to the middle of the whole team. Rivet gets LQP, but Ice Hunter find him overextended. He's completely gone. The Orin overextension is here as well. And at the end of the day, it's a 3-for-1 trade. That's not positive. Death sentence on the easy skins. Can't pick up the kill. They lost Rivet and they lost the fight.
What did I just say? They don't want to fight. All they had to do was use Mr. Robin is such a good champion for disengaging fights. All you have to do is, as soon as the enemy team look like they want to engage, you press R, Call of the Forge God comes through, and the enemy team thinks twice. They think, okay, we can't quite go in here because that ultimate's coming through. If the ult comes through, if they decide to follow up anyway, you just press R again and you knock it back towards them, and then you can win the team fights. They've got a turret. The enemy team has Baron. Don't fight. You don't need to. Just play it safe and wait. And Rivet getting taken down there is big as well. They just need to keep him alive and throw out those boomerang blades and the ricochets in the backline and just melt through these waves. That's all they have to do.
We did have a minor tech issue on the Hub Leuven side, but they turned their monitor back on. And we're back in the game. That will be an inhibitor falling. Like you say, not playing to the ideal win condition over on the Hub Leuven side. Repeated defensive play would have been nice. Instead, we get all these fights being taken, and Rivet keeps getting taken out during them, meaning they don't have the late game scale you were calling for.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting one final Drake before that Elder Drake comes up, and it's going to be a mountain, which is going to be pretty useful for the side of Swordfish Banja Luka as they look just to siege that little bit more. Only turret in the top lane still standing, and of course Baron coming up in just under 3 minutes as well, as it would appear that Leuven have weathered off most of the storm right now as the Baron buff has ended, I do believe. Yes, it has.
I mean,
so
all right,
they have to stall.
You're right. They have successfully weathered the Baron buff. But I would argue that the 10k gold differential is also a real big problem.
Yes, but they have to scale. They've got a lot of wave clear.
Okay.
I mean, if Banja Luka had the 10k gold difference, I would say this is GG right now. But it's not. They've got a Sibir, there's a lot of wave clear. They can still play. They just have to be sensible and know, right, we can't take these fights. There are times where you have to take a fight and go all in or all die. They don't have to do that right now. Just wait to outscale.
Do they commit for these inhibs?
If it's to defend the last 2 inhibs, yes. But it looks like it's engaged.
Yeah, Monster commits final chapter. Good pop losses defensively. They can't take this fight though. They can't win this fight surely as the culling comes through and it's an instant shutdown of Winter. They're just gonna have to keep backing up. Trade for 1-1 as they lose their inhibs in the mid lane as their Nexus turrets are under threat. Hub Leuven need to hold strong.
And if that mid inhib didn't fall in that trade, I would have said that's a good play. And that's, you know, a 1 trade from Leuven getting the kill onto LP, but that inhibitor was open. It probably would have fallen anyway, so not as bad as it could have gone.
Monster just has no fear or respect at this point. It's just a game of continuing to push forward, charge against the defending players. Finally, they get that turret. It's just the Nexus turrets remaining with 1 inhib up.
Yeah, and this is gonna be...
Do you
again,
contest the Elder Drake? That's the only way they stay up, right? They're stealing a major objective.
If Hunter can sacrifice himself and steal it, yeah, they're back in it, but it's very, very risky. Elder Drake won't be up for another 6 minutes or so because, of course, that mountain is there, and whether they will be able to contest it or not will be much clearer when we actually get to that stage. At the minute, they can't really contest, but Baron is up.
They're just rushing forward for this Baron. They're just running for, and I don't disagree. I think it's probably one of the few options they have left.
So they have to be careful, as it looks like Banja Luka just going to set up the vision. I mean, they have priority for everything. They win team fights right now, and there is steal potential from Leuven, but they have to be so careful. And with Rivet and Mr. Robin,
oh my god,
not there.
Already 5k on the Baron. Your steal's got to be perfect. As the HP of the Baron continues to fall, the whole team's nearby. They'll be trying to poke in. They do have enough vision to make this happen. 4k on it, 3k, and quickly falling. The engage has to come now from Hub Leuven, and they have the steal. They've done it. They've got the Baron. They won't even lose anyone. Finally, Pog finds the kill. It's only Hunter to fall. The whole team's in hot pursuit. Swordfish want to shut them down. They've got the realm warp to do so. Full engage from Monster will be rebuffed. This could still be a slaughter. Pop wasn't there. It's the only thing that works. Swordfish find the kills anyway. A moment of hope for home, and it's quickly dashed as Leuven are slaughtered in their own jungle, and Swordfish and Luka pick up their first win in the City League.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Rivet and Xiaopandi turned back into that realm warp. They should have just survived. And there's the ace.
It will be picked up just like that. Win number 1 for Swordfish, Banja Luka in group number B, and loss number 1. Their opponents, as Hub Leuven, are dealt their first sour hand in the City League.
Yeah. Dobras, absolutely massive MVP without a doubt, winning the mid lane on a rise into a Nico, and that's not easy to do, and that's, you know, it just allowed him to snowball. He did so much damage in the fight. In fact, I reckon if you look at the advanced details, yeah. So, do you want to hazard a guess as to how much damage Dobras was able to deal?
Look at our Discord. Sorry, what? Dobras. No, I don't want to hazard a guess because I can already see his KDA is 10, 0, and 11.
Yeah. Dobras did 30k damage. The next highest damage was Rivet Sivir on 18k. That's how big the rise is.
That is truly absurd. Shout out as well to the constant presence of the Yuumi, Pog, and Monster as like a duo. We kept seeing Monster go for a full engage and just not die because he got Yuumi, you and me attached. And then the second it looks like he might have overextended, you have the giant AoE fear followed by the final chapter, and everyone is shut down. Yeah. Everyone is CC'd.
Yeah.
That's so gross as a teamfight initiation duo.
And, I mean, we said about 15 minutes into it, Dobras is huge. He's going to, you know, snowball. And he did so much damage in those fights, and I feel like Leuven just got their focus a bit wrong. They kept looking to find picks onto LQP without realizing that Dobras is their main threat. And, you know, Leuven played the draft in, you know, week 1 immaculately. They played it to their win conditions. Arguably, that was because Banja Luka 2, the second team, wasn't as strong as they were. But in day 2, this game now, they played draft really well. I honestly still think that they had the better draft, maybe with the exception of that Ornn pick. It's not a strong champion right now. I understand that Mr. Robin is good on it, but they should have taken a more meta pick. However, just really well played from Banja Luka, won the first team, and Dobras, absolutely insane.
A strong redemption from their week 1 performance. We do have a second chance for that. However, as Swordfish Banja Luka 2 will take the field in just a few moments. City League week number 2 continues when Swordfish Banja Luka 2 take on Valence in just a moment. Don't go far. We'll be right back with that game after about an 8-minute break.